Okay. Space Tomato, friend of the channel. Star Citizen new ship releases, the Polaris, the Zeus Mk2, which we gave away an MR. We are also giving away a Perseus, by the way, so you guys know that. Look in the link below if you are on YouTube, and then I'll throw a link to the live here soon. The Anvil Legionnaire and mystery ship. So let's see what Tomato has to say about the new ships hitting.
If there's one thing Star Citizen does well, it's ships. Fully designed inside out, built for you and your friends to take the verse by storm, in a variety of sizes, specialties, colors, and manufacturers. While I don't focus on ships much on this channel, I like to try and keep you updated on what's going on with them in the game. So today we'll take a look at what ships are coming soon in Star Citizen and what they're going to do for you.
Initially, when I saw it at CitizenCon,
today we'll take a look at what ships are coming.
Yeah, when I initially saw this at CitizenCon, I was poo-pooing it. I didn't like it till I realized the size of the thing, and then we got more information afterwards. But you know, at first I was like, no. But then when we gave away the Mark II MR variant, and I got to really look into and dig into the specs, I was like, wow, this is actually pretty cool. And I totally did a 180 on this one.
Soon in Star Citizen, and what they're going to do for you. Thank you for coming to My Tomato
My friend
Talk.
Execute from Info Runners, I think he likes this one too. Yeah, same here, Starlet. I think so too.
The first ships on the list today are probably the most exciting for a lot of people. At about 45 meters in length, the Zeus falls into a category of ship that almost anybody can benefit from.
Cool.
Drawing loose comparisons to ships like the Freelancer, Cutlass, and Spirit series of ships, the Zeus represents another manufacturer's vision of that 1 to 3 person multi-crew daily driver in the fresh zone. I think this category will be extremely popular for small groups of friends, and the Zeus ES offers plenty of support for different types of missions. You'll have a decent radar and scanning package, some defensive capabilities with a remote-controlled turret, 32 SCU of cargo capacity or space for a vehicle, habitation areas, and good component redundancy. This ship is planned for the release in Alpha 4.0, preferably in Q3 of this year. The other variant of it is the CL. It's your cargo lifter. This ship adds a tractor beam in the back and VTOL thrust capacity to the wings for better performance in atmosphere, and also a ridiculous cargo capacity increase up to 120 SCU. It's got a bit more shield capacity as well than its brother. Overall, it's going to make a pretty well-equipped, dangerous space small hauler, and I'm probably going to try and earn one myself at some point. The Legionnaire is a weird ship. It's a dedicated spaceship boarding craft, though it can be used as a dropship as well. It actually uses the same docking system as other ships would if docking wasn't limited to just a few ships. You make a request, the receiving ship accepts, and then you navigate into position and connect. Only when you're in the Legionnaire, the receiving ship doesn't need to accept. Hacking will be a pretty big part of...
I skipped on the Legionnaire just because I wasn't quite sure how this was going to work. The Legionnaire made me a little bit nervous with the docking collar and everything. I was like, eh.
Star Citizen, tying into things like comm arrays, ship engineering systems, consoles around various mission locations, and other parts of the game. It relies on the ability to spoof the needed credentials for a given location,
you're right, Limitless.
whether it being a cooling facility in a distribution center or a security terminal in Area 18. The Legionnaire has this ability built in, allowing a passenger to take part in this gameplay.
I think it's actually quite important to focus on hacking slightly before the fact that this is coming out sooner rather than later, and there's no hacking gameplay no real hacking gameplay, makes me a little bit disappointed. I definitely want to see a much more in-depth hacking type of gameplay. We talked about this again years ago when we were theorycraft and security, and kind of where we're at right now is letting me down on the hacking side of things. I definitely want to see more thought put into the hacking gameplay.
To eventually gain access to another ship's systems and approve any docking request it's being sent. At this point, the ship could then attach its umbilical no matter what the defenders want, and attackers could file in on board. What we don't know is how much more access that hacker could get to the defensive ship's system.
Okay, I'll keep this.
Could they turn off gravity, drain life support systems, or open exterior doors venting out the atmosphere? Maybe these are different levels of hacking. We don't know, but these are things we'll probably learn more about as we get closer to this ship's launch. Now, this is currently fairly unrealistic for the game because, believe it or not, most of the ships we'll be boarding will probably be NPC driven. So that all needs to be working before we can really use this to its full extent, but I'm sure there will be plenty of missions and opportunities that will make this ship useful. It's just so tied to the gameplay it's coming with.
Gone will be the days where you're shooting at the cargo doors or the doors or the entries, and you're shooting to open doors. It will have to be hacked. I want the shooting at the doors to be something of the past. I think it's time we evolve to the next step, and I definitely want to start seeing like a much more in-depth hacking gameplay design.
But that it is taking longer to make than most ships of the same size. The latest info we have is that it likely will miss that 12-month deadline set at CitizenCon last year, but there is a chance we could still see it by year's end. Then there is the ship that folks thought the Saber Firebird would be, a quantum enforcer in the body of a medium fighter, the upcoming E-War Saber variant. This has basically been all but confirmed by John Crew on Star Citizen Live, as most people in the community did expect the Firebird to be a quantum enforcement ship.
There's another Saber, probably the one that people thought the Firebird was going to be. It's that.
Quantum enforcers are able to stall or prevent other ships from entering or continuing on in quantum travel. Interdiction is actually a pretty big part of the game that has existed for a long time, but has been pretty hit or miss on the PvE side and almost non-existent on the PvP side.
Well, they're gonna make an item that you can fit to your ship that will essentially do the same thing. I think this is an old way to look at how to interdict, is that it's only limited to a ship. I think there will be future items that will interdict that you could attach to certain ships. I said that when this first came out. We'll see.
While the feature works, the gameplay hasn't been tuned or polished in any way. It'll be important for bounty hunting V2, piracy, espionage, and other missions that require tracking a traveling target. Obviously, this gameplay will need to be balanced so that players aren't constantly being taken out of quantum travel, and it'll need to happen soon. But at some point, likely not too far in the distance, we should be expecting a third Saber variant that focuses on this very gameplay. And when should it be coming? Soon, TM.
That should be soon, TM.
There are also supposedly variants of some recent releases we've seen that are being worked on. From recent ships, I'd say that could mean the Pulse, the Sulen, the Spirit, the Fury, the Halsey, and the Santok Yai. Of all these ships, I could maybe see the Fury getting a variant, so I'm not really sure what could be coming, but we do have some variants coming this year as confirmed a couple weeks ago. And of course, there's the Polaris, the first capital class ship.
Ooh, if you guys missed it, we looked at a dude who got into virtual reality to look at the Polaris, and oh my God, you guys got to check that out on the channel, man. We had a blast with that. Talking about the Polaris and just the torpedo base. Look at the size of these torpedo bays, man. Absolutely monstrous. So savage.
Ship in the game, meant to benefit heavily from the new engineering gameplay and its massive torpedoes. The Polaris is one of the most powerful ships in the game in both raw power and in its ability to run on a small crew compared to others. Introduced in 2015 and favorite to many, this ship represents no small part of the backlog of old ships that annoys players, and releasing it this year will be a good moment for the company as they finally start focusing more on larger multi-crew ship gameplay.
And they are, because the introduction of dynamic server meshing hitting, like I said in prior highlights, it's going to be messy when it's implemented. You're going to have to give it time, but hopefully as they work on code to smooth out dynamic server meshing and things get better on the latency side of things and stability comes into the game like we've wanted it to for years now, you are going to start seeing not only systems come online very fast, but you will also start to see like larger ships start boom, boom, boom. I think a lot of the ships that are larger in class have a lot of work done to them, especially those involved with Squadron 42. And I really think you'll start to see things move quite faster when dynamic server meshing gets to the point where they want to see it, hopefully by next year. I know they're trying to introduce it, Q3, Q4 this year. They might, but I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be something that's going to be a very big work in progress with dynamic server meshing. It could go well out into the end of 2025 before we even start to notice some type of stability.
I recently published a detailed video about this ship that'll give you some more info on it, but it's most important to note the true significance of the ship is the renewed focus on large ships, multi-crew gameplay, and in general a more widely focused experience across the game as a whole. But many of you may still be wondering, dude, where's my ship? And to be quite honest, I don't know. The RSI Apollo was recently being worked on, but likely on...
Ooh, the Apollo is just...
Quite honest, I don't know. The RSI Apollo...
I'm very much looking forward to the Apollo.
Was recently being worked on, but likely on pause due to the next version of medical gameplay and actor status V2 needing more time. The Raylan was supposed to see work after the Santok Yai, but those devs likely got pulled to more important tasks, like possibly the Polaris. The Spirit E1 is waiting for passenger transport, which is still a long way off, as confirmed a couple weeks ago. The G12 was only briefly mentioned last year before disappearing again.
I was never excited about the G12, ever.
The Mirai mystery ship from CitizenCon last year has yet to be revealed, though it could be...
I'm not too worried about that either.
A surprise Alien Week special. And the complete mystery ship that has Anvil, RSI, and Crusader design language cues is still nowhere to be seen. Plenty of ships could be seeing work at CIG, but only ones I listed in this video are confirmed. Otherwise, it seems most work is going into getting ships updated to new standards, particularly with engineering gameplay. It's good to keep in mind, of the 1,000 plus employees at CIG, probably less than 70 are working exclusively on ships, and while the team is building ships, they also need to maintain and upgrade existing ones with major features so that those gold standard updates aren't as much work later on. The Polaris being such a big ship is also taking up almost half the UK ship art team on its own. So with these bigger ships, we may see less quantity releasing, which would follow a trend of generally decreasing new ship sales over the last couple of years. Most hands are on deck for the most important stuff like features, gameplay, and Squadron 42. So for the time being, you'll probably still be asking, dude, where's my ship?
A lot of the newer ships you're going to see a lot of modularity being introduced, Mara. I think that you're going to see going forward here, newer ships having newer mid-size to large ships being all modular. I think that's an additional way they're going to bring in revenue. And again, that's me speculating, but I see that as an additional source of revenue, bringing in probably double what they normally do, because they're saying, okay, here you go. You want modularity, an extra 10, extra 15, extra 25. And then of course you're going to have people buying the ship base, and then they're going to want most of the modules. And then you got the additional modularity price. You know, hey, you know, some people get mad at that. I just say, you know, extra revenue means, you know, they'll be able to get the game done faster, hopefully. You know, if they throw enough of it at the wall, maybe some of it will stick. But I do think that you're going to see tons of modularity in future ship designs.
Thank you for watching this video. If you want more info on Star Citizen and its development, consider subscribing to this channel. And if you're looking for some long-form content like...
All right, cool. Tomato's a cool dude. I dig the guy, and of course he's got those ASMR tones, so much better than me. I'm gonna focus one day. I'm gonna have a British accent one day, a very sultry British accent. And just the whole live stream will be me talking to you like this, very calmly, very sensually, probably drinking some tea, and the amount of viewers that will arrive. The multitudes.